Hello? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Is there anything happening? Yep, can je? Goedenavond, Hadwig. Hoe gaat het met je? Right, sound, you can hear me, you can see me. Yeah, the OBS was being a little bit weird there, as was Stream Deck, but there we are. Unfortunately, I can't see you. Or rather, fortunately, I can't see you. Because it would be very nerve-wracking seeing a face, or a load of faces out there. Let's have a look who's in. Hiya, Steve. Yes, that result hasn't helped me mood. I have got no faith in Deitch, or the players, or the owners, or the coaches. The I don't know, the stewards are sound. I've got faith in the stewards. That's about it, really. Hadwig, I just said hello to Mandy. How are you doing? You alright? How are your fingers after all that knitting? You must be knackered. Louise, hiya, how are you doing? You alright? Casper, our intrepid traveller on a cross-Europe trek. Pictures have been fantastic, mate. Really enjoyed seeing that. Lizzie has sent me a message apologising for not being here, but she's just feeling a bit low today on the owl energy front, so I think she needs a bit of rest and she'll be back to her normal self fairly soon, I would have thought. So with Lizzie missing, there's an opportunity for some of you to start flying up the Botrix leaderboard. Let's start playing last week's vid. Just how OBS has been really odd, and Stream Deck. Hopefully it'll be sound at some point. It'll be normal, but we'll see. I hope. But you never know, do you? Yeah, I know Daniel's had problems with OBS, even though for me it's been fairly straightforward. Not really many issues with it. Getting to learn all about it is a bit of a pain, but you know, I think it's probably better learning something like this than just relying on StreamYard or Restream, because they do everything for you. But you'd have less scope to change things around. Like for instance, Botrix, I don't think would work on them, but it does on this. Nice hat, thank you. It arrived this morning. I need to have one to keep in the car at all times, because I'm now at that age where I am taxi dad, and I always try and wear my baseball cap in the car until I can get myself a proper chauffeur's uniform, which I will do one of these days. I'll grey suit, the proper cap. Yes, my daughter is being referred to as Lady Penelope, which would, I guess, would make me Parker in the Thunderbirds, driving around here, there and everywhere, but I don't mind at all, even though I was slightly late today because I texted her and said, am I taking you to work? She texts back and then nothing happened until my phone suddenly decided to download about 12 messages at once, but managed to get her there on time, so I was happy with that. Yes, Louise, yes, my lady. So occasionally she is referred to as Lady Penelope, amongst other things, not all of which I can probably say on here. But oh wow, what a day today has been. Absolutely fantastic. I've done nothing, but I went out in the car earlier. I needed to go to Tesco and get some bits and pieces, and I needed to get more diesel in my whip. I sound absolute tit saying that, don't I? I needed to refuel my car, so I had the windows open, sunglasses on, a sunny Sunday afternoon, beautiful temperatures, and it was fantastic. And again, I've said this before, but Southport, like a lot of Victorian seaside towns in the UK, gets a bad reputation because they're a little bit run down. But it was absolutely glorious today, lovely. Loads of people around because the flower show was on, and obviously with it being sunny, people are just heading to the beach anyway. So I think it was a very nice day to be having a little bit of a drive around. but that is literally all I've done. I dropped Jess off at work and her mates, and then got on the sofa, and I almost fell asleep about 6 or 7 times today, so I must be a little bit low on energy. It seems to be catching, but you know, these are the. Oh, actually, I've done something today. I went for a walk as well, which wasn't great. I have sort of one walk in 10 where the rhythm is perfect, and I feel like I'm absolutely superb and think I've turned the corner. I'm going to be great, and then the next 9 are not great. Maybe 3 or 4 of them were like today, where I felt like I looked disabled. I don't normally. I look like I might be struggling a bit, but today, as I was walking, it looked like I'd only just learned to walk this week. So I think I need to work a little bit more on the technique of walking. It's not just repetition. The repetition has to be the right stuff. If you keep repeating a mistake, that mistake will be built into how you walk. So I have to think about the technique of walking. That is a stupid thing to have to do, but after the stroke, it's exactly what you need to do. You have to work on heel and toe strikes and where your weight's going and things like that. So it can be, I don't want to say frustrating. Again, like I've mentioned loads of times, frustrating is when you're lying in a bed and you can't move. Being able to walk around, even though it's not perfect, that's not frustrating. That's just, I'm having a little bit of a blip on the road, but it's definitely in the right direction. But I've hit my steps for the first time in about 3 weeks. My steps target. I have not got anywhere near that lately because I have just not been doing right at all. I felt tired, I felt sore. I went and had my occupational therapy on Friday. I am an absolute tit, aren't I? When I first started my physio side of things, I had a load of targets that I wanted to hit. And I hit every single one of them apart from going to watch an Everton game, which obviously I couldn't do because the season hadn't started. And I did that last week. So when I went in to see my therapist, my physio was there as well. And my therapist said, Nick wants to have a word with you. Obviously I wanted to share my news, but she said it in such a way where I couldn't help myself. As soon as Gwyneth walked through, she went, "Yeah, what's up?" I said, "I love you and I can't stop thinking about you." And I just seen her face drop, like, "Oh my God, what's this?" And I started laughing. I went, no, I went to Goodison on Saturday. I went there and done it. So she can tick off that I've hit every single target. And I think anyone who's been involved along that path, that physio, the path that I've had from having to just learn to sit up straight to getting up and walking all the way through to going to Goodison, I think every one of them deserves a huge amount of praise, and also they should be proud that their efforts have paid off. I know it doesn't work with everyone, they don't always hit every target, but I've managed to do it this time, so I think they should be very, very proud of themselves. I'm certainly proud of them. Yeah, but that showed the picture of me looking down the stairs, which I don't think she realised it was that high when I told her, yeah, just a few steps. I know it was a few more than a few steps, but they did it. They made me get there, so I'm pleased with that. And I'm going again on Saturday. I don't know how I'm getting there yet. I'm going to have to think about that this week, whether or not I'm going to try and drive all the way down there. If my blue badge arrives before that game, which I don't think it will do, I'll drive and see if there's anywhere to park. If not, I might have to go and get the train. I think my dad said he might be able to pick me up afterwards, but I'll have to make my own way there, so we'll see. Had a week, yes, I am absolutely proud of myself. I'm proud of them for getting to where we are right now. And I keep saying we because it is definitely us and them. That saying where a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. I'm the weakest link, they are the strongest by a distance. And they've got me to the point where I can do things that I never thought I could. So I'm delighted with them. I'm delighted with the progress we've made. I really am. I keep reminding myself at times if I'm like lying on the bed, I've had a cramp and my legs are sore and I've got no energy. Right, at least I can actually just get up now and I can go make a cup of tea. I haven't got to call for someone to come and hoist me out of bed into a wheelchair. It's remarkable, and it's coming up to the anniversary. What date are we on now? 20th. The 30th was the day I had the stroke, 30th of August last year, so I've got 10 days to go. I don't know how I'm going to celebrate it, but I've got a sneaking suspicion I might have to do some form of live stream, so I'll bully you and coerce you and guilt you into coming back on here for me. Just to, so I don't know, give me thoughts on what a full year feels like. Because it's been a very, very strange, I can't believe it's almost a year already, but it's been a very strange year. It has flown by, and at the same time it has dragged like a seal's ass. It is just weird. It feels like so much has happened. Well, obviously so much has happened, but at the same time it doesn't feel like a year ago. Genuinely, if I would have thought to myself, how long ago was it? Probably about 8 or 9 months, and I keep thinking that way, but it's not. It's a full year. Yeah, I've got to be careful. Some of the things I think and say as well. I caught myself saying the following words yesterday, I think it was, yeah. I'm sorry, I've had a stroke, so my memory is not quite what it used to be. Which reminds me. I mean, what a stupid thing to say. My memory's not what it used to be, which reminds me. You know, if I wasn't me, I would have punched me in the face back then. Louise, yeah, you know what? I have packed a lot in that full year. Even silly things like there's been a World Cup. Well, there's been 2 World Cups, hasn't there? There's been the women's one that's just finished today, and unlucky there to the Lionesses. Been fantastic getting through to a final. Anyone getting to a final should be proud of themselves as well. But we had the men's World Cup in between it as well, so it feels like it's been these huge things happening. And then the Ashes in the cricket, which I know not everyone's a sports fan, but I'm a huge fan of the cricket. So it's felt like there's been loads of huge milestones. Plus my 50th birthday was in there as well. Another major milestone. All these mad, and my daughter taking her first driving lessons, my niece passing a test. Just feels like there's been loads of mad big things happened, as well as trying to get fit. Trying to get healthy. Fitness will come at a later date, if at all. I do miss actually that ability to go and play football. I never play football again, I know that. But I might be able to run again. I might be able to get on a treadmill and do a couple of miles and build my stamina up that way. But yeah, I seen someone earlier on, a rather overweight girl running, and I thought, do you know what, people are going to start taking the piss out of her because she was quite hefty. It'd be horrible if they do, because that girl has decided that she needs to run to feel either good about herself or to improve her health or whatever it is. She was out there on the road doing it. I thought, that's fantastic. That I don't know who you are, but again, I feel proud of you because you've got up and started doing it. And if I was healthy enough, I'd come and join you just to keep you company and keep your spirits up. But yeah, I'd love to do that. Thank you, Mandy. Yes, you should be proud of me. I rock. Kirsty, you need to want your eyes checked, not changed. Don't get them changed. Never get them changed. Only get them changed for laser eyes, which could be an upgrade. Never know. 21. Jeez, I looked older than 21 when I was 14. So, yeah, Louise, I missed driving as well and going upstairs. I did. And again, this is something that I try and keep in the back of my mind. Every time I think there's something that's a little bit too far, I think about that. I had to have someone come in and wash me every morning because I couldn't get upstairs to have a shower. Now I go up every day. I don't have to have someone in front of me or behind me to make sure I don't fall down. I've got my car, I can do that. I've been to the match that I never thought I'd be able to get back to. I've got all these little things, little boxes that I've ticked, and all of them, when you add them together, is a huge move forward. I think people who have got serious illnesses, or I thought is mine a serious illness, it's life changing, I know that, but if I can do it, anyone can. And all it is you've got to push yourself. You don't necessarily have to believe that everything's going to be all right, but you've got to push yourself. I mean, if you don't, it'll never be good. You never know, though. If you push yourself, you don't know how far you'll go. Little steps make a long journey shorter. That is completely right, Hadwi. As the saying goes, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I've seen so many people along the way who weren't either able to or capable of making that first step, or they didn't want to, just feeling sorry for themselves. You have to make that first step, and if you don't, no one's going to do it for you. So I think it's I'm proud of myself for what I've done, and I'm proud of the people around me for helping me. And when I was in the hospital, I tried to drag the other people that were in there with me, tried to drag them along. Get up, you go and do it. Go on, get yourself sorted. You'll be all right. But I hope that's worked. And again, I think I'm a decent little, not a role model as such, but an example of what you can do if you just put that little bit of effort in. And again, it doesn't have to be a huge amount. It's just enough effort to make a difference. Saf, are you, mate? You doing all right? Good to see you in RDI early on, and lovely to see you in here. Yeah, but again, like I say, it's not a huge amount of effort. It's just that first little bit that you need. Your momentum drags you through, and the people that you're dealing with, the physios, the doctors, they all drag you through as well. You could be feeling low on energy, and then just the cleaner comes in with a big smile on their face, ask you how you are. And that, to me, I always thought that was boss. Just, everyone's got this thing about them. It's positivity, but it's not toxic positivity. It always seems to be from a good place, and something you can feed off. And if you're in hospital and you've got all these people around you who are full of energy to give to you to improve you, and you can't get yourself off your arse to go up and do a bit of physio, then there's something wrong with you from a fundamental spiritual level. So I've just got to say, I fed off them, and I think because I was willing to put myself forward to do as much physio as possible, and I always had a positive outlook, that the staff there were willing to go out of their way to try and help me as much as they could. And so if there is anyone who's watching who's suffering from a serious illness, I'm not saying that you're going to necessarily get better straight away just by having a go, but it will move you in the right direction, absolutely 100%. Yes, Mandy, you will keep on pushing me. And I think it's a great thing. It's support sometimes doesn't have to be mollycoddling. It has to be not even tough love. It's just got to be that gentle push. Like, no, we know you're doing all right. You can do better. Or we know you were doing all right, but you've had a bit of a blip. Get back on the horse. Not that I'm going to get back on horses, because I've never been on a horse in my life. How bad's that? But that idea of just, come on, get up, go for a walk. Well, it's raining, really. Have you got a coat? Get a coat on, put your hat on, get out and walk. You'll feel better for it. And I do. I felt better for the walk earlier on, even though I felt worse at the time. I felt better for the fact that I'd been out and done it. My dad always said the same about when he goes on the treadmill. He hates the idea of getting on there. And as soon as he's done it, so I'm glad I did that. I'm the same myself, looking outside thinking, no, I can't go out in that. No, just get up and do it. Yes, Mandy, I can do better, and I will do better. As Jed is my witless, I will do better. Always trying, always trying. I bought little wrist weights, ones that you put on your ankles or your wrists, to go and do some more exercises like the therapist told me. That therapy on Friday absolutely caned me. It wasn't a huge amount either. Like I've said before, I can get on my feet and I can do an hour of leg physio, sit to stands, step in, walking on a treadmill, going up and down steps, all that kind of stuff, and I'll be all right. I'll be tired, but I'll be all right. 10 minutes of handwork and I'm absolutely wiped out. And then because I do half an hour of it on a Friday, I had to come back and had a couple of things to sort out with work. I was just pretty much sat here like a zombie looking at my computer screen. So much so that I forgot to do my stat sheet, which I need to text my boss and remind her about that. Because it's just, I had nothing at all. I was a husk of a man, an absolute husk. I had nothing left to give, but every reason to live. Making myself sick talking about shit like that now. Isn't it warm now? In other news, I'm sweating like a 1970s Radio 1 DJ when the doorbell rings. That's how warm it is. So I made sure I've got a massive bottle of water, which, when you've only got one working hand, is an absolute ball ache trying to sort out. Trying to fill and trying to put the lid on it so I don't do that and swill myself live on camera. Husk, like corn on the cob. Absolutely. A veritable husk. Empty, devoid. It's like before the stream started, thank you. The likes seem to work really well. Likes and comments in videos. Likes and comments and likes on the comments in videos seem to work well. Some of the ones where I've had the earliest interactions with people, I've gone on to do good numbers. And I know all these YouTube gurus keep going on about the algorithm. If you change the word algorithm for audience, it makes more sense. But there is an algorithm, and it tries to put your content to the people that would most likely want to watch it. But there are ways of just tickling the algorithm's balls, so occasionally I have to fire in there and have a little play. No, going in a completely wrong direction here, aren't we? Yes, Saf once my arm is up and ready and give an uncontested right hook. The right hook I'm alright with. It's the left hook I can't do at the moment. That's the one that's not working. Although, look at that. Isn't that amazing? That is definitely getting there. It's going to take, again, it's been a year, and there's not a lot I can do with it, but it's definitely getting there. It'll probably take another year before I can start doing decent stuff with it. Yes, Louise, I like my own comments, again, because it sends the algorithm into a purple haze. And I like the idea of getting, especially the first video on the Stroke Survivor Speaks little series. I like the idea of getting that out to more and more people. If I can just get one or two people to change, or to be able to start checking themselves, check the blood pressure, and maybe have a look at how much they're drinking and what the diet looks like and whether they're looking after themselves, then I'll be happy. Because genuinely, I don't think I'd put anyone through this, not even my worst enemy. Even though I haven't got any enemies. If I had one, I wouldn't put them through it because it's horrible. Especially the people who I've spent probably their entire lives relying on, how can I put this? Relying on their hands for enjoyment. Whether it's playing guitar, PlayStation, playing football, I don't think I can do that ever again. I don't think I'd ever trust myself to be in that gym playing footy anymore. Unless it went to play walking football or something really slow. But I do miss that. I do miss playing the PlayStation, just be able to pick it up and play normally. And the guitar, my dad's got a travel guitar, which is a really light thing, which I might start looking into, maybe just trying to play a few chords. I know it'll be difficult because the dexterity is just nowhere near what it needs to be. But even if I can play 3 chords, I can play a song and I can start learning again. I will, of course, have the benefit over someone who's learning from scratch of having 35 years of playing guitar knowledge under my belt. So I know exactly what the chords look like and what the strumming patterns should be and things like that. But that will come. I know it's, again, I'm not getting frustrated by it. It will come when it comes. I did my little short video yesterday because Rocky Raccoon came on the radio in the car, and that was one of the first ones I remember playing. And as soon as I started hearing it, I could think, oh right, I could just pick the guitar up and play this now. I know I still remember how to do it, but I can't. Yeah, the Ramones made a living from 3 chords. Quite a few people have, to be honest with you. Status Quo did as well. But I can tell you right now, there will be no Status Quo. I think they got the right name now for the band, Status Quo, because they just never changed, did they? Kept on coming out with the same shite week after week. Although I seen a documentary on them on BBC. Can't stand the music, but everyone came across as being really nice, proper fella, good sense of humour on all of them, and they looked like they had an absolute ball whenever they played. And obviously there's a lot of people that like them, but then again there was a lot of people who liked Hitler, so it's not necessarily right, is it? Prove me wrong. Yeah, but the 3 chord thing, I mean, there's C, F and G. You can pretty much play, I think we worked it out, there's like thousands, but 2,000 songs just with those 3 chords. So easy. And they're obviously, C, F and G are easy chords to play once you first start, because they're all next to each other on the fretboard within easy reach. Oh, Louise, the dance fads. Them and Mud, and who else were the other bands that the 70s rocker dancers with the thumbs in the belt loops and awful shit. I hate them. Mandy, no, I will not try and record it. It would not be interesting to watch. I would look back and I would be in tears looking at how bad I looked. When I do finally pick a guitar up and play it, if it's in front of a camera, I want it to look fairly decent, because I'm not bad. I'm not the best by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not bad at all. I can spank me plank with the best of them. I used to play it in the pub all the time on stay behinds. Used to lock up and we'd have all the sort of the regulars and the staff get a guitar down or get 2 down, and me and my dad will play and have a sing song. I used to love that in the George in Southport, which I'm going to get a picture of one of these days, because half of it has been knocked down. It was getting turned into a co-op, I think, but something's gone wrong there. But I lived there for 12 years, and now it's a husk. It's another husk. They've knocked the back end of it off to the point where, as I drive past it every morning, I can see my bedroom door, and it's horrible. It's I don't want to say soul destroying but at 12 years we lived there. And obviously working in a pub, you meet a hell of a lot of people. It's not just 1 or 2 office workers that you see day in, day out. You get thousands upon thousands of people over those years. Some people who are no longer with us. Some people who are a lot older than you were last time I seen them. But you just lose contact. And that pub's being torn down. It's horrible. The amount of memories that I've got there, not being able to see it anymore. It's a shame. It was a lovely place, nice big old pub. There's a little place over the road from it that used to be a corner shop that our friends used to run. That's now a little micro pub. It seems to be that's all there is in Southport now, little micro pubs opening up. And I haven't been to any of them, even though they all look fantastic. So I need to find if any of them do a coffee or an alcohol-free beer, which I need to find out for Saturday as well, because if the pub near the ground does alcohol-free beer, I might go in and have one, just to see if I can see any of my mates. Mandy, you should try and play your guitar. Anyone who's got one in the house, whether it's your own or your kids or your brothers or your sisters or your dads or anything, pick it up and have a go. If you learn guitar, it's not the most difficult thing in the world to do, but if you can learn to play, it's something that will be with you forever. It is absolutely fantastic. There's no one levelled up. Oh, I must have a look at Botrix and see if there's anything going on here. He's been on here, hasn't he? What is going on? Right, yeah. What is? Oh, it's definitely linked. Definitely linked, so it should be working. Has the automation not said hello for a while? Because that seems to have. I can't remember seeing it go through the chat earlier. Bizarre. Well, that's technology for you. OBS was being a maggot, and now Botrix is acting a maggot as well. Oh, there he is. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, yeah? So it's definitely connected, otherwise that message wouldn't be there. So just keep chatting, hopefully it'll catch up at some point. Lizzie was top of the table, and she's not here, so there's an opportunity for someone to go into the lead. Others to get into the Champions League positions in the top 4 there. Again, I've been trying to find out a little bit more about Botrix and what I can do with it, but it's fairly new apparently. It's still only a beta, and it's hard finding any information. Even the people who made it don't appear to be anywhere. I'm part of the Discord and it makes no sense. There's loads of information in there and not one little bit of it can help me. But we'll get there. And at some point I will find something to give away. There's got to be something I can give away. I can't give you the kidney, not until I get one off Jess. Making sure she looks after it for me. Yeah, there are other Botrix alternatives, but again, all these seem to be used on Twitch, which I know is a lot more for ADHD riddled kids who need things popping up on the screen every couple of seconds, which is not really what we're about, I don't think. It doesn't fit in with the old soporific nature of how I do things, at least. But I might look into that if Botrix doesn't start getting his act together. Yeah, Louise Mandy's sending me a sack of spuds. The postman is going to be annoyed. You're going to end up having a hernia with the amount of spuds that are getting sent through the post. At which point I'll be able to start giving them out to people who hit whatever arbitrary target I decide on here. I don't even know. No one seems to have gone up. I don't even know what the levels are. What's the highest possible level? Mandy, by that I assume you're talking to the bot rather than me, because no, I am not asleep. Yet. Has anyone seen Jess come up yet? She normally appears at some point, doesn't she? Not as yet. She looked a little bit tired when I dropped her off earlier. Sunny day. Plenty of people. We had the flower show, so there's been thousands of people milling around. Just in general, popping in here, there and everywhere. She shouldn't be out. I dropped her off at home earlier. I dropped the mates off and then dropped her off. Which I want to say as well, I don't think any of her mates will be watching, but it's nice that a good bunch of kids, that a lot of teenagers, Kevin and Perry, you watch them on Harry Enfield, Kevin the teenager, a lot of them, when you say hello to them, they just grunt, or all their mates always say hello over morning and goodbye, and they always thank you for the lift, which I think is fantastic. Very polite, good bunch of kids, of which Jess is one as well. I think she's always that way, always nice and polite. She seems to have fallen in with a good group, hopefully, so I'm pleased with that. Mandy, you've got loads of time to make them. We've seen what you like. All of a sudden, you're melting your knitting needles with the speed you're going, the sparks coming off them and all kinds. We know what you like. You're a knitting machine. Which might be needed. I wonder if you can get a knitting machine that just does potatoes. I can set it up in my bedroom and just get rid of thousands upon thousands to anyone who hits whatever arbitrary figure. See, yeah, I don't know. Don't know if it'll update in real time because we're on a stream now. It might be after this finishes that the leaderboard increases, but at the moment, everyone's got 5 points and they're all on different levels. It's bizarre. Is that all it is? 5 points, and then the next level is 10, and your upper level, I don't know. Botrix, give me some information, man. Yep, we're connected. I was going to connect with Kick and live stream to 2 places at once just to see what that was like. But I might have to wait until a bit later on, I think, later on down the line. See how that works. That might be a good idea. I might put that forward to Daniel as well. Because there is talk about Kick possibly paying streamers an hourly rate just to stream. Not necessarily dependent on how many people you've got watching or gifted subs and stuff like that. It might just be, if you're on for an hour, you get X amount of money. So it might be worth him looking at trying to get the, especially the ETS crowd, the fireside chat thing. If you can get everyone from that to jump onto Kick or Twitch or something, never know, we might be able to make a few quid. Get the old Dwayne Eddies coming in. Oh yeah, man, your latest creation, the latest sport is absolutely fantastic. You'll have to throw that in RDA. I can't show you it at the moment, I don't think. I think most of the stuff I try and show on here will have to be via the system. Let's have a look. See if I can find it. Don't know if it'll show up well on this. See, a bit of light in the way, but isn't he fantastic? All hairy and caveman-y and a bit Harpo Marxy. I like him. The Great House Potatoes. You never know, you could be onto the start of something here. Like Cabbage Patch Kids when they took over the world back in the 80s. It could be Ninja Potatoes, that could be the next thing. Have kids screaming in Toys R Us, fighting over the last Ninja Potato. We could be at the ground floor here of an absolute cultural revolution, a phenomenon. We never know. Yeah, don't press buttons. It's me you're talking to, not Daniel. I can press buttons. I'm a good button presser. I know what I'm doing. I think. Touch wood. No, don't touch wood either. Yeah, I thought, no, if you pressing buttons. The reason why I've got no problems with pressing buttons, I'm going to tell you this now as well. I've got a mate who used to come in the pub that I was talking about, who looked a bit like Jarvis Cocker. So everyone in the pub for the last 30 years has called him Jarv. And he is an absolute computer genius. And he always said to me when we got our first computer, our first PC, just keep messing with it. If it gets knackered, give me a shout, I'll fix it. So whenever it did, he'd fix it. And I'd ask him what I'd done wrong. Why? What had I done to cause the problem? How could I have avoided it? And how could I have fixed it? And then every time he taught me something, I learned a little bit more. So thanks to Jarv, I've learned a lot of technical stuff. And I'm not afraid to press buttons, because if something goes knackered, someone else will always be able to fix it. Plus we've got YouTube. If you knackered something or you don't know how to do something, YouTube it and it'll tell you. I got Botrix watching loads of YouTube videos. How can I do this? Well, get Botrix, so I did. Again, it's not perfect because I can't get the pissing thing to work properly, but all the information in the world that you need is available on the Tube of You. There's a lot of talk going on in here, isn't there? Everyone's trying to level up. Botrix, sort your life out now. Get it sorted. Yeah, everyone needs... I don't know why. Why is not everyone levelling up at the same kind of rate? Botrix, what is going on? That's the other thing as well about Botrix. I was said about signing into Kick possibly. It will also drag any comments from Kick through to the same chat, which will be exceptionally weird. Let's have a separate thing set up for that, I think. But yeah, Botrix seems to have favourites. I don't know how it works it out. I just let him run free and he decides to do what he wants. At some point, I'm convinced if all the Botrixes or Botrices around the world get together, they will take over people's machines and they may start World War III. Might just start launching nuclear missiles wherever they feel like, because that's how Botrix rolls. Yeah, Mandy, you moaning sod. You cried that one in, didn't you? Levelled up. That's all you need to do. Whinge about it enough in the chat and then Botrix will appear and sort it out for you. Anyway, Mandy, you've on level with Lizzie, who's not here, so if you carry on, you might go top of the table. That'll be good. If you finish top, you'll be able to order one of your own potatoes. Wonder how that would work. Would you have to send them all to me and I'll send you one back, or would I just be a lazy sod and tell you to knit yourself one? You've earned it. Yeah, we need to watch out with these chatbots. We don't know how sentient are they. Do they learn? How do they grow? How much information do they know? Are they scraping information from us? Are they trying to get inside our heads? How do we humour a parsnip person? You would love Wales, according to Duolingo. The Welsh parsnips are the equivalent of the Dutch schildpadden, apparently. Is that, or is that not right, Mandy? You can confirm that, can't you? Owen and his parsnips is a very famous internet, I don't want to say meme, it's down to Duolingo, isn't it? In fact, if anyone's ever bored and you've got a couple of minutes to spare, just Google Owen's parsnips Duolingo and you can find another little rabbit hole to go down there. There's entire chat rooms dedicated to it. You should learn Welsh. Being Dutch, you've already got that advantage of being able to do the ch sound. In the same way that me being from Liverpool meant that when I moved to the Netherlands, I already had that ability to say, schraaf and hage and all that kind of stuff, and 88, which other people really struggled with. And Ruud Gullit. Used to be sick and tired of hearing people call him Ruud Gullit with a H. It's not his name. Owen and the Parsnips is the name of his band. Mandy, is that right? That should be a good band, a good covers band. I'm still convinced though that the North Wales cover band, to end all cover band, would be a Deacon Blue one called Real Gone Kid. If there isn't one, there needs to be one. Saf's levelled up as well. Brilliant. First time in and you're already levelling up, mate. Fantastic. Yeah. And of course, yeah, you're right. How do we just saying your name? I can just about do that, I think. I'm still not convinced I'm doing it right. Occasionally it's in my mind that I'm getting it wrong. Obviously on account of the fact that we moved back here in 1985 and haven't been back since. But the fella who came and did the documentary seemed to be quite impressed when I was having a word with him. Not only about some of the words I remembered, or some of the phrases that I remembered, but also my pronunciation of them, and the fact I could do the G. I've got a mate from Sweden who keeps telling me to learn Swedish for no other reason than possibly that I like languages and it'd be easier to talk to me if I could talk Swedish, but I don't know. I don't know if my brain has got enough capacity to learn any more languages. I can speak, well, sort of speak Dutch, German, Spanish, and a little bit of English. Do I need anything else in there? You know what, we should visit. My dad keeps getting asked to go back and he never has done, which I think he's starting to regret now that he's not in as good a health as he was. That we should have gone over during the 90s or the 2000s at least, and just gone to see people. And especially when they opened the Grolsjeveste, the new stadium. It would have been great to go and see that place. Again, it would have been sad to go to the Diekerman, where he played all his football and where my football team, Sportclub Enschede, where they are, they're still there in the same place, but the stadium has been demolished. So that'd be a bit sad for me seeing that, because I spent a lot of nice times around there, both playing football myself, because there's not just our team, there was 3 or 4 teams around that stadium, but my dad as well. It just reminded me, actually, my memory's not the best. There was 1984, I think it was, before the 1984-85 season, FC Twente played against Arsenal in a pre-season friendly, and I'd been training with Sport Club that day, and I was on my bike about to go to head home, and I just went up to the stadium to have a little bit of a ride round like I used to do, and there was a load of Arsenal fans, like a good couple of hundred Arsenal fans, and they see me, and I was wearing an Everton shirt, which must have freaked them out. I heard someone say, fucking hell, there's a boy there with an Everton shirt on. So they sort of come towards me, which was, for a small kid, 11-year-old, it was quite intimidating, but come over and went, excuse me, do you know where a McDonald's is? McDonald's? Yeah, mate, go down there, turn left, and it's just on the corner there, mate, you can't miss it. Fucking hell, he's a scarcer. I think I absolutely blew their minds that day. What you doing around here? I've just been playing footy, mate, what about you? Yeah. What you doing around here? So my dad's playing against your lot tonight for FC Twente. They're all decent lads, actually. During those days of football hooliganism, they were all decent lads. And they just went over a beer, had something to eat, and there was no trouble at the game. Yes, Louise, that is a much easier word to spell than pronounce. Speciale gepracht, planlegging. Oh no, I'm not doing that. That's a hell of a one. That there's too many long words. The Germans are pretty bad at that. I don't like that. Putting 17 words together to make one when they could be left as 17 words just makes no sense to me. Just leave them as they are. I can have a run up to 17 words. I can't do them all in one go. Kirsty, there's nowhere near that and start streams in Dutch. Not a chance. My Dutch is not good enough. And again, that's something that I hate, because I used to be absolutely fluent and I'm not anymore. I think I've said it before, haven't I? If social media would have been a thing back in the 80s, I'd still be speaking perfect Dutch, because I'd be talking to the likes of Hadwig and my mates from Enschede. I'd still be talking to them. I'd be Skyping them and talking over the phone, or I'd be texting. But because it was so long between living there and moving back, it was just lost too much of it. Ik kan een klein beetje spreken, maar niet genoeg voor een stroom. Is it a stroom? What is a live stream in Dutch? Het is een stroom. Is it a stroom? No, Casper, that's definitely not one of them. Patience, sickheads, me dinghies, done. No, not one of them. You can only get it back by practicing. You can. Practicing is prachtig. It's annoying now. I think that's the part that really annoys me, is because I know there's loads of it there. I do Duolingo, and I can fly through the lessons fairly quickly because it's too easy. But then trying to have a conversation, unless it involves turtles and what else are they going mad about at the moment, Duolingo? Ducks, dresses. He wears, or he has got several yellow dresses. I know they have to tick little boxes as well, and they've got to be diverse, but there's lots of that going on. She has a wife, he has a husband, he wears loads of yellow dresses. Alright. But yeah, it's Saf, thank you. I can practice with you as well. That's what oofing is, isn't it? Oofing is practicing, isn't it? Louise, I haven't got a VPN. I always make sure that my underwear is completely out of sight. Oh, that's a different thing, isn't it? The ads. Do you know what? I never even thought about that. Watch the Dutch YouTube ads. There's loads of Dutch channels, I suppose. I could just watch some of that and try and get used to listening to the language when it's spoken quickly like it normally is. But it is annoying because when we lived there, I was absolutely fluent and I was top of the top of the class in sort of the Dutch language, which is bizarre for someone who wasn't from the country. But I do think I've got a talent for languages. Again, I think I've been told that English is the one I speak the worst, but that would be the fact that I'm from Liverpool and we don't really speak English. We speak a bastardisation of it, deliberately difficult so that other people can't understand what we say. That's just how we roll, innit? Greenlandic words are pretty magical. Does Greenland have its own language, or is it Danish? Or is it like a variation of it? Be interesting to know that. I mean, we've got loads of languages in the UK, some of which are a little bit odd, not spoken as much as other ones. I was watching something on one of these random channels on Sky. I don't know if it was BBC Alba or something, one of the mad, the 900s, and it was the tours of Scotland. Some fella was going around and he was talking to some girl who spoke a very, very sort of close to going out of well, I can't even think what the words are. Close to extinction, a Scottish slang or a Scottish language. There's only a handful of people who still speak it. They're trying to make sure it gets spoken more and more so it doesn't die out. But it must only be, there's like one village in Scotland that speaks it. Is it worth keeping? Yeah, of course it is. These cultural things, and it's just slightly different. Greenlandic is, it's mad. Europe obviously has got loads of different languages because there's been people moving constantly, and the influences on language through Europe is huge. You've got your Latin languages, Spanish, Italian, and all that kind of stuff. The Germanic languages that we all speak in the northern parts. When you mix them all together, adding a bit of French, it's crazy, and it's crazy how different the languages are. And it's only across the road. Now, if you go to, I suppose, where Hadewig is in Limburg, when you've got Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, Netherlands, all close to each other, and France just down the road, England across the way, the languages are absolutely insane. I know over here, for such a small place, not just the accents, but the languages that we've got is bizarre. You go to massive countries like the US, and the influence on their language and their accents seems to be so small compared to us. They have literally just got the whole of South America, apart from Brazil and Patagonia, who speak Spanish, and yet it's not that huge of an influence on them unless you're in the very, very border of Mexico and the US, and of course Canada. There's not much French-Canadian influence on Northeast America, is there? Sort of Massachusetts, Boston, Maine, Rhode Island, all them places. None of them have got any French influence, and yet we've got loads of French influence in Kent and some of the south coast. Bizarre. So you're from Brabant, but you're in Limburg. So you're learning Limburgish. What's Limburgish based on? Is it based on a Dutch language or a French, or is it like a mixture of the two there? Yeah, I can imagine the Dutch having lots of dialects. Even though it's only a very, very small country, like I say, I've said before, when we lived there, because I'd learned Dutch from not just the teachers in school, but the kids in the street. I learned a very, very heavy Twents accent. So whenever I went anywhere in the Netherlands, they're like, oh, you must be from Enschede. Well, no, I'm not. I'm from Liverpool. But yeah, thank you. Right, so it's a low Franconian language, just like Dutch. Right. Good. There's too much French influence on language. Obviously, we've got a problem with the French, haven't we, as being English, but then I haven't got a problem with the French, and I'm not English. Am I called to do any of them lot? That thing that the Liverpool fans do, Scouse not English, I know where it comes from, and it's not my team, but I do sort of get on board with that. The English, that's them, it's not us. We look out, I think it's been said before, we've got more in common with Belfast and Dublin and New York than we have with the rest of England, the rest of the UK. I'd add Glasgow in that as well. Liverpool is like Belfast, Dublin, Glasgow, Newcastle, New York. It's nothing like the rest of England. That's why they don't like us as much as anywhere else. They hate us because we don't give in to them. We are our own people. We. What's with the we? I'm Welsh. We's French, isn't it? Oh, and Mandy, did you nip out to go do a sunset? You're early, aren't you? Oh no, you're not actually. The sun should be setting in about 5 minutes, I think. I went and tried to get a video of it yesterday. I went and sat by the beach again, and it was lovely, absolutely lovely. The video didn't come out too well because it was quite cloudy, but it was just nice being sat there. I had the windows open. It was like one of those, I don't want to say lazy, those tired evenings where you've been running around on the beach all day and you can feel yourself yawning and everyone in the family's getting into the car and everyone's shattered. You had a proper day of it. That's what it felt like, despite the fact that I'd done nothing again yesterday. But it was just nice being sat in the car and hearing the sounds of not much going on. But that's got a sound of its own, hasn't it? Not necessarily people talking, a little bit of bird song, seagulls tweeting in the sort of the distance. Just that thrum of life gently settling down towards the evening. I love that sound. The sea doesn't come in. I've said that before, haven't I? 32 years I've lived here. I've seen the sea 6 or 7 times now, which is a shame because I'd love that to come in and to have that sound of the waves crashing. But it's just, that's the way it is. Where we are, this part of the Irish Sea, the sea goes out a long, long way and then doesn't really come in. But when it's a high tide, it's so dangerous. It's almost dark where you are over in the Netherlands, yet well, you are an hour ahead of us, and that way in distance we are, well, where we are on the north-west coast, we're quite a distance away, so it will be dark there, and it's still very, very light here. Bit overcast, but very nice. I might even walk to the top of the street and back a bit later on, see if I can get any decent skies. The night skies here are really nice. Especially them summer ones when you can get out there and take pictures without freezing to death. They're always good. Speaking of which, I missed out on the Perseids, the meteor shower that was here last week, because it was just overcast constantly, and then 2 or 3 days after it stopped, the skies were crystal clear, so absolutely typical. Louise, your dad once sent you paddling at Southport. The only place you can go paddling in Southport is the Isle of Man. You have to walk that far out to get there. Do you know what's great, Southport? Like I was saying earlier, it does get a bad reputation for being run down. I don't think anywhere in the UK, any seaside town, is anything other than run down. But they've done a good job looking after this place. I mean, the streets, the high street, the shops that you would normally go to, loads of them have closed down because no one shops on the high street anymore. Everyone just buys off Amazon or buys online. So loads of them have closed down, and it's difficult to find places to replace them that will do any kind of business. But we've done all right, and I think they try and keep the place as clean as possible. They've got, I'm going to try and get a picture later on if I go out in the car. All the trees have got lights up them, so they look really, really pretty. The place looks nice, even though some of the pubs are shit compared to what they used to be. The nightclubs have not been out for a long time anyway, but they had really, really gone downhill last time I was out. But the place looks all right, and you can see holiday makers when they come here, they seem to like the place. Walking down the front, walking over the Millennium Bridge, over the Marine Lake. It's absolutely stunning. On a nice day especially. Gorgeous. That's why whenever I get a chance, I'll drive down there and just park up. Even if it's just for half an hour or so. It's very calming. Picking my daughter up earlier on. There's a Ferris wheel, like the London Eye, a small version, one of them with the pods on them. That looks great. There was a couple of other things in front of it, which if I could have got a picture of it, I would have done because it looks lovely. It looks like a bustling seaside town, despite the fact that apparently it's not. But I like it. It's a nice, relaxed place to live. We hear sirens all the time, but then we live over the road from a hospital, so you will hear that. It's not like there's police constantly flying around and shots going off, although there was some little bellend out there earlier on, wearing a black balaclava on a bike, and it's 20 odd degrees sun. Yeah, got to be watched them lot, the road men. Mandy, you should go more often to the sea. Everyone who lives by the sea takes the sea for granted. Again, I must have told you, when me and my ex-wife were still together, we used to go to Llandudno. So we wanted to go to a seaside town, despite the fact that we live in a seaside town. We've got a pier, we've got the arcades, we've got everything that Llandudno has, apart from the Great Orme and the copper mines and sheep shit everywhere. But we used to love going there. Possibly we should have ended up going just down to Southport Beach and having a walk along there occasionally, but we take it for granted because it's there. I did live for a year, me, my mum and my dad, when we left the pub. We couldn't find anywhere to live, so we were pretty much homeless at that point. Luckily my sister, landlord, had a place that we could move into straight away. We just about managed to get in there before we were in a lot of trouble, and that was right by the beach. A gorgeous, massive old house, and the beach was literally it was like a 2-minute walk through a little path over the road, and there are the sand dunes. And now, when I'm sort of walking around here, I think to myself, I'd love to go down there, because if I fell over and fallen on sand dunes, it wouldn't hurt, and it'd give you a proper workout. Yeah, we do take it for granted, and I know North Wales has some of the most gorgeous beaches and scenery in the UK. You should be getting out there and having a bit of a wander around. And yep, I think there's plenty of people who feel the same way. They wish they lived closer to the sea. I know everywhere I've lived, apart from Enschede, there's been water, lots of water. And to be fair, Enschede had loads of fishing lakes and things, but obviously it's right by the German border, so I'm miles away from the sea. No real river nearby. Middlesbrough was on the Tees. Wrexham, I was only a kid, but the whole of North Wales was just up the road. And Liverpool, which to this day, the Mersey is one of my favourite things to look at. Just on my dinner break from work, I can walk across the road there and I'm on the pier head. Just walk down, watch the ferries coming in and out, watch the water sluggishly sliding along. It's stunning. I genuinely think there's something about water which is, it's like a life. It's a life-giving. Rivers are veins for the country. Um, so I love spending as much time near water as I possibly can because I find it life affirming. I really do. Kirsty, last time I went to London, I went to see my friend down there. It was just after the London Bridge attack, so it was a strange place to be at that time. There was a huge sense of community I found in London that weekend. A bit of a sort of, you think you can bring London to a standstill, well, look you can't. So it was nice being there, but for the wrong reasons. And we were down by the Thames, looking down, and there was people on that little bit of beach by the Globe Theatre. And they'd done a big picture of Homer Simpson in the sand, and everyone was absolutely buzzing to be able to get out and about without feeling like they were at risk. So it was nice. Yeah, I can imagine. The Thames, it's another one. Whenever I'm in London, I like getting down to the river if I can. It's the Thames. I find the Thames a bit of a strange one because it doesn't feel like a normal river. It feels like something else. I can't explain what it is. There's something a bit more important to it, but it doesn't feel like it's connected to the sea and to somewhere else. It just feels like it's there on its own. Very, very odd, but I like it. I like being down by the water. Llandud, no, God's Waiting Room. Funnily enough, that's what Southport gets called as well, because of the amount of nursing homes which me sister and me niece work in. Same thing. It's just everyone comes here to retire to retire and die, because it's a lovely place to be. So nothing wrong with God's Waiting Room. Very, very peaceful. Yes, you're right, Kirsty, it is. You do see mountains every day. You lucky sod. I love mountains. We used to say from my school in Garston, Allerton, South Liverpool, you could see Snowdonia from the schoolroom, because obviously it's that close and also it's that big. So you can see places like Mulvama, you could see that from my classroom very, very easily. I love mountains. There's a power to them, as my videos will tell you. There's definitely a power to them. I've been watching loads of mountaineering videos again recently. Everest, K2 and places like that. Just watching people climbing them. They are mental. I'd love to have the bottle, the fitness and the money to be able to do it, but I haven't. And I'm shit scared of heights. But I can imagine standing on top of Everest must be a feeling like no other. Absolutely insane. Yeah. Casper, yeah, you should go to the beach tomorrow and take some pics. Everyone who's close to the beach should do. Should take more pics anyway. It's nice seeing where everyone is. Just silly things like Mandy's shooting out to take a picture of the sunset. It's just a sunset, but it's not. It's a little snapshot into your life, and the same as everyone taking the pictures in the RDA chat. Just lovely, someone just dropping something in and thinking that's what they're seeing right now. That's that little part of their life. It's one of the reasons why I like Instagram so much. If you go back through my Instagram, there's loads of random pictures that I see when I'm out and about, and I think that'd be nice in some year or two down the line to look back at and think, that's what I was doing that particular day. I like it. Penguins in Kapstad. I love penguins. They're very, very odd little creatures, aren't they? They seem to have a proper personality, penguins. What was that documentary that David Attenborough did on them? Sort of a year in the life of a penguin or something, and it was, what they go through is insane. It really is. They are crazy. Having to live in absolutely ridiculous conditions of freezing cold with winds that would knock the feathers off you. Everyone having to stick together in the huddle just to survive. And then once you've done that and you head towards the sea, you've got leopard seals who are wanting to eat you, and orcas trying to eat you, and all kinds of stuff. They're crazy. I still think that seals are stupid as well while we're on this thing. I don't know where I put it. I must have put it in one of these things, whether it was Twitter or Blue Sky or one of our chats. Seals, they live in the Arctic. They've got to put tons of weight on just to stay warm. Everything that lives there is trying to eat them, polar bears and orcas and all kinds of stuff. If they just moved a little bit further south, they would lose a bit of weight. They'd be safer. They could still eat loads, but they wouldn't need to. But yeah, seals can sod off. I like penguins though. Yeah, we have got seals in the North Sea. We've got them in the UK in the North Sea as well, and I think we've got them in the Irish Sea on our side of the country. They are sea dogs. They do look like dogs, don't they? Seals, or are they sea lions? I can't remember which one's which, but they do. Yes, another decade, the polar bear problem will be solved because there will be no more polar bears. There'll be no more ice flows for them to hunt from, so they will die out. Poor things. The mad polar bears as well, aren't they? They're one of the most gorgeous looking creatures on Earth. Absolutely stunning looking things, and yet they are absolutely evil. They will just eat anything. My dad said he was in Anchorage Airport in Alaska. Don't know why he was there. But seeing a polar bear, he said it's one of the biggest things he'd ever seen. Didn't realise they were as big as they are. But gorgeous looking things. And then Gordon Buchanan, another British nature documentary maker. He got inside a perspex ball, sort of cubey ball type thing, with a film camera, and polar bear was trying to get in and eat him, and it was scary seeing how much power that thing had. Whoever put it together deserves a knighthood because he saved the lad's life. But he shouldn't have been in there in the first place. Fantastic pictures, great film, but do not put yourself in that position, lad. You got the largest predator in the Netherlands is the wolf. I didn't know they came that far west, to be honest. I think we used to have them in the UK years ago, but they died out or they got killed. But yeah, I know they're in the tiger, aren't they? That big strip of forest that goes all the way around the world, pretty much. Sort of from Canada, US across, and then into Northern Europe, all the way through Russia, and all the way around. Wolves, they are gorgeous, aren't they? Absolutely stunning things. I watched another documentary series on them as well. Some fella went to, it might have been Alaska. It's the last place where there's truly wild wolves that they don't know who people are. They haven't really got much interaction with people. So they haven't learned to be scared of humans. So we can go there and film them without them being worried and acting weird. And it was amazing to watch. You got really close to them. They seemed to be very interested in who he was, but he was never really a threat or a risk. Although you can't really turn your back on them just in case. But they are stunning looking things. Good question, Mandy. Does Table Mountain have an Aboriginal name? Like Uluru, yeah. That is a very, very good question. Who knows? What did he call it over there? Did he call it like Tafelberg? Or is it just, I don't know, did he just call it Table Mountain in English? Do we have any other places like that? I know, man, you said Snowdon's got a Welsh name, hasn't it? Which I can't remember. Is it Ifan or something? There must be loads of places around the world that we give stupid names to. That should just go back to what they're actually called. Tafelbjerget in Danish, yep. Tafel being table. Bjerget or berg. You can see where these languages come from. Definitely got a common ancestor. Tafelberg and Tafelbjerget, just the same. Right, so Cuckoo or cuckoo. Cuckoo, that's a bird, isn't it? There you go, Mandy. Iarwyddfa. Is that Wyddfa? Iarwyddfa, possibly. Pendle Hill actually means hill, hill, hill. Yeah, I've seen that, Louise. Funny enough, I watched something, I don't even know what it was about, but that was mentioned in it. Yeah. Pendle Hill's a great place to go to as well. I've not been there for a long, long time. That is a lovely area, lovely part of the country. Again, I think that's the northwest that isn't the Lake District or sort of the borders of the Yorkshire Dales and the Peak District and all the ones that are famous around us never get the credit they deserve. But a place like the Trough of Bowland is an absolutely stunning part of the country. So where you are in that area, absolutely gorgeous. I need to get out there, I think, as well at some point. I want to go to Parbold Hill, which is just down the road from us, and see if I can get some nice pictures from up there. I don't think Pendle would be too far away to get from there. Obviously, Wigan's just up the road. And I know when I used to have to go to Preston for work, we get on a train from Liverpool Lime Street, go through St Helens and Wigan, and then off up to Preston. There's some fantastic, lovely, lovely looking places just on that way. Definitely got to go there again. And also, one of my favourite train journeys was going to Newcastle. Well, actually, it was coming back. Any chance to get away from Newcastle is always good. For someone who spent 5 years living in Middlesbrough before any Geordies start having a go. But that train journey from Liverpool to Newcastle and back, going through Huddersfield and places like that, wow, absolutely gorgeous. Some of the real old sort of country cottages and things. Oh man, it looked like a Hovis advert just everywhere you went. Dry stone walls everywhere. Absolutely amazing. And yet you go through Manchester and Leeds and you wouldn't know where you were if someone just plonked in the middle of either of them. Unless it's a football stadium, you wouldn't know where you were. They just look identical. Same buildings, same tall buildings, same little central business districts everywhere you go. It's a shame, really. I think the Australian comedian Steve Hughes got it right. He's been everywhere around the world. New York, London, Munich, Sydney. It's just the same. It's just white people shopping. And it's right, wherever you go in the world, any major city, there's just white people shopping. It's a shame. Everywhere should have their own little bit of character. I suppose that's one thing that I do like about Liverpool is a lot of it does have its proper character of its own. Some places I've been to, you wouldn't know where you were. Parts of London are like that, but London's a weird place anyway because in the middle of everything that's brand new, there'll be something that's 400 or 500 years old just there in front of you. I quite like that juxtaposition of the old and the new. I'd prefer it if the new wasn't there in a lot of places, but it's there, so we have to deal with it, unfortunately. Erwyddfa, right. Well, thank you, Mandy. I'll forget that next time, obviously, because I've got a brain that doesn't work anymore, which reminds me. Yeah. River Avon just means river, does it? I didn't know that. Did you know that Dublin means Blackpool? Lynn means pool or river, and Dub is black. So it literally just means Blackpool, which takes a lot of the mystique and sort of gorgeousness away from that wonderful part of the world. Still not dark here. Bizarre. I thought it would have been dark by now, but it's not. Right, so there's no local name for the mountain. It was just given the name after Francis Drake and Jan van der Riebeek got there. That's strange. But there would be places like that as well, wouldn't there? What do you call that mountain? We just call it mountain. Why? Because it's a mountain. Has it not got a name? No. Why not? Because it's just a mountain. Me mountains. I love me mountains. They are such a huge symbol for me and the channel. And I suppose people will be watching it who get really, really annoyed, thinking why I've tried to have a live stream on a mountaineer. I'm not a mountaineer. I've never been on a mountain in my life. It's all about the journey. It's a metaphor for the journey. Every day is an Everest. That's true. Go for it and see what happens. There's some chat going on here, and Botrick seems to have fallen asleep again, doesn't he? Yeah. See, it's now showing that Mandy, you've joined Lizzie at the top of the table, but it's not really doing much in terms of points. It's a bit strange. You have a village called America in Limburg. Would that be anything to do with the Second World War? Or even the First World War? American soldiers coming to help out? Would that be the reason? Botrix needs to tickle every once in a while. Hadwig, you are 100% right. He does. He shows up. See? It is me. He's saying that Nick really is that needy, and yeah, I'm the one. Really. You have to mention him for him to appear. It's stupid. Does take after me, doesn't he? Knock me all down mountains. That is very Irish. Ireland. Oh man, I need to go to Ireland as well, don't I? That's just over the road, and yeah, I've only been to Belfast and never been to Dublin. Love Belfast as well. That's another place where I don't think people realise how beautiful it is. All you see is, burning Land Rovers and people marching on the 12th of July. Ignore that. Ignore the fact that it's got one of the most bombed hotels in Europe. Just go there, meet the people. They are fantastic, absolutely lovely people. They'll have a laugh with you. You have to have a bevy with them. Go and have a look around. It's gorgeous. Coming back from the airport, the international airport, rather than the city airport. You can see the hills or mountains surrounding Belfast. Lovely. I think I might have to go back there as well one day, but without work. Just go for a visit as a tourist. Go and do the Giant's Causeway and all that stuff. I wouldn't mind going over on ferry. Go to Belfast and then drive down to Cork or something, or Galway. Drive through the Republic. It looks absolutely amazing. And then get the ferry back from Dublin to Liverpool, or from Dunleary to Holyhead or something. Love to do that. I keep talking about these things. It is literally just over the road. I mean, we got on the flight from Belfast to Liverpool, and we were going around with the drinks. A couple of people were getting a beer. It's not even a full flight, and they got halfway down and had to stop because we were coming into land. I think the flight took 25 minutes. The one on the way out there took about 35, 40. 25 on the way back. There must have been a tailwind. But no sooner did we gone up, we were coming down. It's that close. And we see loads of them. Whenever Everton or Liverpool are playing at home, Liverpool airport is full of the Irish. They love coming over here to watch the football. So it's a fairly cheap and fairly easy place to get to. The Netherlands, can be a bit of a pain. I think Liverpool have started doing flights to Amsterdam. They never used to for a while. You'd have to go to Manchester first. Make your way to Manchester to Schiphol, and then get from Amsterdam all the way to Enschede, which can be a bit of a ball ache. But obviously you can't really fly anywhere other than Amsterdam. I don't think there's any other regional airport that would take the kind of planes that you'd need, or we'd need to get there. The first time we went over there, was when we moved, and we were in a little, I think it was a 12-seater plane, this little shitty little thing. didn't look like it was a plane that should be taking anyone anywhere. Held together with elastic bands and lollipop sticks. No. Didn't look good. There wasn't a meal halfway through. The pilot just put his head through and did anyone want a cup of coffee and got his flask out. That was strange. But I have to say, in that little tiny plane, as soon as we come over the coast, coming in, we landed in Schiphol, surrounded by massive 747s and all kinds of stuff. But coming in that little plane, just coming over the coast and seeing how beautiful it looked, I thought, yeah, we've come somewhere nice here. And I was right, we did. Never been further north than the 63rd latitude or further south than the 46th. I wouldn't have a clue how far north or south I've been, apart from the furthest north I've been is Glasgow. The furthest south I've been is Moron in Cuba. Furthest west will be Los Angeles, I would have thought. The furthest east, I think that's going to be Munster in Germany. My dad's mate used to just, when he was bored and needed company, he'd come and get me and drag me in the car and we'd go and drive somewhere. Him and his girlfriend used to take me to Munster quite a lot. Used to be it wasn't a theme park, it was like loads of swimming areas, outdoor swimming and a few indoor pools and stuff. Used to go there quite a lot. I think there's a fair there as well though. But yeah, that's about it really. I haven't gone very far. Although I suppose Los Angeles, Cuba, there's a distance there. Yeah. I need to move around, don't I? I need to try and do something different. I want to go to Iceland. Definitely want to go to Iceland. I think there's flights that go from Liverpool to there now. That should be a straightforward little place to go to. I don't know how expensive it'd be to get there just for a weekend or something. But it'd be nice just to go somewhere a little bit further north than I have. I think once I get a bit fitter and a bit healthier and I've got more about me, I think I'll be able to possibly drive up to Scotland, go and have a look at some of the lochs, or book into somewhere in Inverness or the local environs. Let's have a look. So you've been Casper, you've been 100 miles below the Arctic Circle to Rovinj, is it in Croatia? Hadovich. North of Iceland to New Zealand. That is a hell of a that's a hell of a span, that one. That's crazy. That's not far off pole to pole, really, is it? Louise, furthest north, Newcastle. Furthest south, Perth. That's a hell of a distance, that one. Newcastle, that's further north than people give it credit for as well. I don't suppose Newcastle's that far away from Edinburgh when you think about it, is it? Edinburgh's just a little bit further up the road. I reckon we've got all these places that are on our doorstep, the same as the beach, talking about that earlier on, and just we don't go there, even though we really should. And how difficult would it be for me to get on a train at Lime Street and go to Glasgow, which I've done before, or then carry on and go to Dundee or however further north it goes. I think there's a train that actually, we spoke about this the other week, about going to Norwich or going to East Anglia. I think there's a train that goes through Nottingham and then goes to Norwich, or might even be to Ipswich, Great Yarmouth or somewhere down there. All these things are possible without too much effort, and yeah, you end up doing none of them whatsoever. The whole of the North Wales coast is on my doorstep. The Lake District is literally just up the motorway. The Yorkshire Dales, which I went to with the school, again, it's just down the motorway, down the M62. They're all easy to get to. I just sit on my arse on the sofa. Mind you, at the moment, that's all I can do. Can't do much more than that. Still light. Although you can tell it's starting to get a bit darker. it'll soon be dark very early, and if it does start getting dark early, I should be able to start getting some exceptionally good sky pics for the RDA. You've been over and through the Alps, had you? That's yeah, the Alps. There's something quite romantic about the Alps. There's loads of sort of that's written about a lot, isn't it? And you've got the Orient Express and all kinds of stuff going through there. I seen there was a picture on Twitter of somewhere in the Alps, and I can't think what the name of it was. But it was a town without cars. There's no cars allowed. If you want to go there by car, you have to park in another town about 2 miles away. But it looks fantastic, and just you walk out of your hotel, look down to the right, and you can see there's a cafe down there. You look to your left, and there's an absolutely massive mountain. That's the kind of place I'd like to go to, where you're not worried about getting run over by some dickhead in an Audi. No offence to anyone here who's got an Audi, but they seem to be the people at the moment. What else have I missed out on? Let's have a look. New Zealand is further from Australia than Britain is from North Africa. That's a strange one, but there's loads of little weird things like that people don't realise. I never really realised how close Western Africa and Brazil are. When you think of the two continents, you always think of, I don't know, sort of the bottom of South Africa and the bottom of Patagonia. You think, oh, there's such a long distance away. But yeah, I know. Belize and I was part of Brazil rather. Brazil to Western Africa is not that far away at all. 1,300 kilometres, and it's stupid, a little bit longer than that. Loads of places. I had the famous Billy Connolly thing where he said he was at a dinner party and someone said if you took Norway and stood it up on its end and let it fall, so where would its northernmost point reach? And it was Morocco. Really, if you stood that up, the distance between the south of Norway and the north of Norway is similar to Morocco. Really, the world is huge and small at the same time. It really is. We went to Tenerife. Again, I think it was 4.5 hours on a plane, and it's Spanish, but it's not really Spanish, is it? Because Africa is just there next door. I think I've never been to Africa, but I've just been off the coast of it, really. I don't think you can get day trips to Africa, but it would have been nice just to go and step foot on a completely different continent. I've done Europe, I've done North America. Cuba, what does that count as? Doesn't count as the South American part, does it at all? Central, I don't know. It would have been nice just to go to Africa. It'd be nice to go anywhere at the moment, to be honest with you. Don't think I can though at the moment. I don't think I can fly. I'm not sure if there's any issue with my brain. Would I need to go and speak to the doctor before I got on a plane and went somewhere, 38,000 feet in the air? Do I need to worry about that? Don't think I could go. I couldn't climb Everest for the same reason. Would my brain go pop halfway up? Northern Italy looked like Austria or Switzerland. I think the whole area around there, it doesn't know what it is. I think it's a bit of everything, isn't it? There's a famous mountaineer called Reinhold Messner, who looks German, sounds German, and is actually Italian because he's from that area. He's classed as Italian. He's not. He's German. You wouldn't want to swim from Africa to Brazil. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. I know there was an Air France flight that went down in the Atlantic Ocean, and it was like finding a needle in a haystack, but they found it. And I think that one went trying to fly from sort of that route, the shortest route they possibly could, and they were still a long way away from any radar, so they couldn't be tracked, and they disappeared halfway along. Terrible. We couldn't climb Everest for any reason. I know that thing that they always say, why did you want to climb it? Because it was there. that's not enough for me. I like the fact I can watch videos. I can watch loads of YouTube videos of people mountaineering and see how difficult it is, and I can live my life through them vicariously. You go and climb it, and video yourself, and I'll just sit at home eating biscuits and watching you. That's as far as I want to go. But I did say if I ever won the lottery, what I'd love to do is do the trek, the Everest trek, which is where you go. You don't go to base camp, you go to below base camp, but you have a bit of a wander around. It's a good walk, but you're able to stand and look at the mountains that are there, Everest, Lhotse, Makalu, all those mountains that are in that range, just to be able to stand there and see them with my own eyes. I'd like to do the same now near K2 as well, which is a weird one because there's nothing there, is there? The K2. There's a huge sort of gully leading up to it, and then it's there in the middle of at the end of it on its own, just this big triangle in the middle of nowhere. Obviously there's loads more mountains near there, but just where that is, it seems to be on its own, just as an absolutely stunning looking thing. I'd love to be able to do that. Go and have a look at, physically look at as many of the 8,000 metre peaks as possible, just with my own eyes. Don't want to get on them, I don't want to go to base camp, I don't want to get involved in with the people who need to climb and need to concentrate on doing what they're doing, but just plonk me over there somewhere, let me take a few pictures, let me live stream from next door to Everest. I'll be happy with that. Maybe one day. I think there is something beautiful about them, the Himalayas especially. There's a power in them. Obviously the Indian plate and whichever plate it hit into, which must be the Eurasian plate, is it? With it's all the Russian side downwards, and then smashing those mountains into the air. All that area used to be under the sea, and then that amount of power pushed them up to be the highest points on the planet. It's bizarre. That's power. That really is power. So I'd love to see that. Teleportation. Yeah, teleportation. If that worked, I'd quite happily go to the top of Everest. Teleport me there. Quick selfie. A little bit of snow as a memento when I'm back in the teleport. But yeah, anyone who does that, just they're crazy in the first place, but fair play to them for doing it. And it's nice watching the YouTube clips nowadays that everyone's got 4K ultra high definition cameras. It's not like it used to be. You're just seeing people wandering up there, taking the most amazing videos possible. You know, this is me stood on top of Mount Everest, and they look around and they show you a picture or show you a video, and it looks absolutely insane how beautiful it is. But yeah, you wouldn't get me up there, not a chance. If the Earth was a billiard ball, it would be smoother than any other machine polished billiard ball. I've seen that, where we think it's really the distance between sea level and the highest possible sort of Everest, K2, Kachinchunga and all them Nanga Parbat. It's still smooth if you rub your finger over it compared to other places. It is crazy. The world's marvellous, and we are only little insignificant speck. Been watching loads of flat earth stuff as well lately. They are hilarious. How do we count Chimborazo or Everest the highest point? Chimborazo is the highest, is the closest point to the moon possible. But Everest, I think, is classed as the highest point from sea level, isn't it? The biggest or the tallest mountain on Earth is in Hawaii. Is it Mount? Well, I can't remember the name of it is. But most of it is under sea. But it is the biggest. It's the tallest mountain by an absolute distance. But yeah, Chimborazo, I think it's the nearest point to the moon, isn't it? It's technically because the bulge on the equator. It's the highest level, but it's not the highest from sea level. Yeah, it's the furthest from the Earth's centre because the way the bulge around the equator. The Earth bulges around the equator because of the spin and centrifugal forces. So it's the furthest point from the Earth's centre. So it is technically it's the highest place on Earth, but it's not the highest place from sea level because there's a bulge. So yeah. Yes, Casper, it is very self-explanatory. But it's weird that, like I said, I've been watching loads of flat Earth stuff. The flat Earthers don't seem to understand these things. It is very self-explanatory, and I think that Mauna Kea, that's the one. That is the tallest mountain by an absolute distance on the planet, but the majority of it is underwater. And it's only when you see these things compared to each other that you realise how big some stuff is. What's the mountain on, or the volcano on Mars? Is it Olympus Mons, isn't it? Which is the tallest mountain or the tallest structure anywhere in the solar system. And it is 2 or 3 times the height of Everest. It's absolutely phenomenal how big that thing is. But it's on Mars, so we don't see it. Olympus Mons, fantastic. I love stuff like that. And like I say, watching loads of flat Earth stuff, and if you are anywhere in the world, you should be able to see Mount Everest if the Earth is flat. Anywhere in the world, because it's that tall. And if you're on a plane over the United Kingdom or over the Netherlands, I would think, at 38,000 feet, you should be able to see North America. You should be able to see the United States. But you can't, because the curvature of the Earth and the flat Earth knobs just, I don't know, they won't accept it. Some really funny shite they come out with. The ISS doesn't exist. You can go outside and look at it yourself. You can actually watch it go overhead. You can take pictures of it. You can film it. But no, it doesn't exist. Yeah, Mars' atmosphere is not that impressive. But even so, do you know what? So does Everest sticks out of the Earth's atmosphere at times. I have to look into that, but it does actually. It's classed as, sometimes it gets that high that it's technically out of our atmosphere. It's into the next step up. Whichever one that one is, you got the troposphere, all that gear. Whichever one it is, it sticks out into that occasionally, and it's outside of our own atmosphere. Saf, thank you very much for coming, mate. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, be safe. And such a shame that Luton couldn't have their first home game this week. Something to look forward to. Hopefully they'll be back playing before you know it. And hopefully they stay up, but they'll probably stay up and Everton will get relegated because we are bloody awful. Yeah. Flat Earth Society members all over the globe. I love the way they put that on their own little website thing, innit? About us. We have members all over the globe. Idiots. Yeah, I'm still with Al Murray with that one. Flat, it's not even level. Earth's atmosphere, 100 kilometres. Yes and no. We've got it's split into different things, isn't it? The whole atmosphere is, but it's split into little bits, and whichever one we need. Sometimes Everest pokes out above that one particular band of the atmosphere. I know it's in the death zone because the body can't actually live at that height, but I think it's actually outside of a particular strand of our atmosphere. It's I want to find out what it is, and I'll put it in the chat later on if I can. But it was a bit of a crazy fact, and Everest is getting taller every year as well, because the Earth's moving up there. They're still getting, the continental plates are pushing into each other and it's getting higher. Yeah, but occasionally on good days it pushes out above whatever part of our atmosphere is into the next one up. So I think it'll be technically classed as in a completely different sphere. Yeah, altogether, that's again. People don't really seem to realise these flat earthers talking about water sticking to a ball. Why doesn't the water fly off? Well, there's atmosphere above it pushing down to keep it down. Do you not understand these things? I mean, Brian Cox did something the other day on a programme I was watching where he got an empty bottle and he went to the top of a mountain somewhere, I think it might have been in Europe, and just left the air inside the bottle, put the cap on it and then went down to sea level. And the further and further he went down towards sea level, the more the bottle started to crush because the atmosphere inside it was a completely different pressure to the atmosphere outside it. You can do all these little things to show you that the flat earthers are talking absolute shite. We know they are anyway, but there you go. It's funny. I mean, I'd love to be a billionaire just to get these people who insist on, no, it doesn't exist. It's not a circle. It's not around. It's not a globe. The ISS doesn't exist. So, come on, let's take you up. We'll get Elon to take you up with us. We'll take you to the ISS. You can bring any camera you want. We'll even get you a suit and you can get outside and just go for a float and have a look down. You can see the globe that we live on. When you go home and tell everyone then that you've seen that it's not flat. No, because they need to make their money somewhere. Grifting idiots. Yeah, troposphere, stratosphere, atmosphere, thermosphere. I think that we're going to have to look at this, aren't we? We are going to have to look at this. What is it? Bands of the Earth's atmosphere. Would that cover it, or would that be some mad goth band? We are bands of the Earth's atmosphere. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, ionosphere, exosphere. So the troposphere starts at the Earth's surface and extends to 8 to 14.5 kilometres, 5 to 9 miles high. Right. Stratosphere starts just above the troposphere and then goes to 50 kilometres or 31 miles high. I think that's where Everest comes into it. On certain days, at certain times during the year, it pokes out of the troposphere and into the stratosphere because it's that high up. The thermosphere, let's have a look what that says. The mesosphere starts above the stratosphere and extends to 85 kilometres or 53 miles high. Meteors burn up in this layer. Then we have the thermosphere that starts above the mesosphere and extends to 600 kilometres or 372 miles high. Aurora and satellites occur in this layer. So the Aurora Borealis, the northern lights, and the Aurora Australis, the southern lights, happen there. And satellites are up there, so that's very high up there. The ionosphere is an abundant layer of electrons and ionised atoms and molecules that stretches from about 48 kilometres or 30 miles above the surface of the above the edge of space, overlapping into the mesosphere and thermosphere. There's a hell of a lot going on there. Well, there is a lot going on, isn't it? All those little bits of things that we know are there that keep us the way we are, like help us breathe, that protect us from the sun's rays, that protect us from solar winds, that give us satellite TV. It's all there, we know it is. But there are people that are making a fortune grifting on the internet by continuing to tell us the place is flat. And unfortunately, there's loads of people that believe them. You know, we had scientists in the 1600s who could work things out with minuscule precision that we can now check that they're 100% right. And yet, hundreds of years later, we've got idiots who are trying to drag us back to the Middle Ages. We are a vulnerable little tiny speck in such a vast universe. The pale blue dot that Carl Sagan talked about all those years ago, the little picture of us. When you see that little picture, we are one pixel in a photograph, in just one photograph of what could be billions of photographs. With that one little pixel, we're nothing. And yet we're nothing and everything at the same time. Everything that we ever were as a species, as a people, as a society, as anything has been contained in this one little speck. There's that lovely picture of Michael Collins took when he took a picture of the lunar lander going down to the moon with the Earth in the background. And at that point, absolutely every single person, living or dead, who'd ever been in the history of the Earth was in that photo, apart from him who was behind the camera. That was it. Everyone who's ever been before and was still alive, was buried in the ground, anything was all there in that one picture, just him. He was the only one that wasn't. That is up there with one of the most amazing pictures you're ever going to get. Nobody else is going to get that opportunity to take anything like that, I wouldn't have thought. That's just incredible. Yeah, the picture was still in our own solar system as well, it was. I mean, it's insane to think of how big things are. You get to a point where you don't know how big things are. It just become numbers. A number. It's a one with a one with 2 zeros. We can understand a one with 5 or 6 zeros. Yeah, we get that. But a one with 1,000 zeros after it, it's nothing. It's a hypothetical number. How can you get your mind around how big these things are? It's crazy. The same with those little things where you start off with sort of the Earth, and then they'll put the sun next to it, then they'll put the nearest bigger star, and you go up in size, and after a while our sun looks tiny and these massive, massive stars just get bigger and bigger and bigger. After a while my brain stops working. I can't work out how big these are in relation to each other anymore because it's just off the scale. Casper leveled up as well, brilliant. Maybe the 8th planet somewhere. We have, I think the moon is, the Earth has got more than one moon. There will be more than 8 or 9 planets. I reckon there'll be a lot more than that. They might just be on eccentric orbits and they only ever appear every couple of thousand years or something. We just don't know. Yes, Barnsley, those are small. These are small, those are far away. I love that. I went to see Ardal O'Hanlon in the Epstein Theatre in Liverpool. He was absolutely brilliant live as a comedian. Came up with that famous phrase that he said to his dad, "Dad, can I have some chocolate?" He went, "No, son, chocolate is the devil's shite," which is something that it gets called in our house now. The devil's shite. Yeah, just appearing into the middle of a stream, expecting, probably not expecting to be talking about the ionosphere and things like that. But that's how we roll on here, don't we? We talk about anything that crops up. Yeah, when you see a star that was 4 light years away, you just see it as it was 4 years ago. I think the light from the sun, isn't that? It takes 7 minutes to get to the Earth, something like that. So the light that we see from the sun was 7 minutes ago. So as far as we know, the sun could have exploded. It's going to take us 7 minutes before we realise it and it blows up in the sky. Just reminded me there actually of a very cringy thing. We went to watch Everton in London. I think we were away at Arsenal for one away game, and one of the lads was with us, and then we went to watch us down at QPR about 3 or 4 weeks later, but he never went. He was at university in Manchester, and as we got back getting towards the north, he jumped on at one of the stations and got talking to us. He'd been talking to a girl, an American girl, on the train on the way back from Arsenal, and ended up taking her home or taking her back to his, and this, that and the other. And she started not stalking him but sending him messages all the time. It was getting a bit heavy. And one of the things she said was, "I can't believe when I look up into the sky the stars I'm looking at are the same stars you're looking at in your beautiful eyes. Thought, oh mate, do you know what? If a lad would have come up with that to a girl, she'd have quite rightly slapped him and gone and shagged his mate or something, because it was horrible. That. You can't be that saccharine sweet. You can't be doing that. Louise, level up to level 4. Fantastic. Love seeing that. 8 minutes and 26 seconds. Is that what it is, Casper, for the sun? All right. I knew it was there or thereabouts. It doesn't seem a long time, but it's only the sun. It's only up there, isn't it? And it still takes that long for that light to hit us. Again, I think, like I said, with the sun, we wouldn't know it. It could have exploded, and we'll only know about it in 8 minutes, 26 seconds time. A lot of the things that we see in the night sky might not even be there anymore. A lot of the stars might have exploded, might have gone supernova. Could be anything. Could have been eaten by a black hole. We just don't know. Yeah. You've got stars in your eyes. It's just sick, that, wasn't it? You can't be coming out with stuff like that and expecting to have anyone take you serious. I can't believe the lights you see are the same lights I see up in the sky. Oh, no. Don't be doing that, lad. He's a drunken Evertonian on the way back from London. Doesn't want to be hearing this shite. She probably thought it was dead romantic. He was like, I'm getting rid of this and stalk her as soon as I can. Yes, Kirsty, which song? Beetlejuice or Betelgeuse, whichever one. I don't know how they pronounce it these days. It changes from day to day, doesn't it? Is overdue to go supernova. And when it does, I think the night sky that we see nowadays will look completely different. Because I think it will. Isn't Betelgeuse, isn't that one of the nearest stars to us, nearest big star? So it will show up very, very bright in the sky. Your dog's trying to convince you to go for the evening walk. That's a proper evening walk, that. 10:30 at night. Oh, here we go. It's gone dark out there now. Yeah, so we've joined it. It is dark. I might have to go for a little bit of a wander later, just to the top and back, but yeah, it's too dark to be doing anything else. The naughty people might be out now. The night people, they're all naughty, aren't they? Yep, keep chatting. They need a last pee. All dogs need a last pee. Doesn't matter what time of the day it is. You give them the last pee now, then it gets like 1 o'clock in the morning, they need another last pee. Just around the square and back. Sounds like my last haircut. I haven't had my haircut by a barber since January 2020. Just a little fact that I'm going to throw out there to you. Can anyone beat that? Has anyone gone longer than that? Probably have. I know some of you lovely ladies probably haven't been for a while either. Alpha Orionis, or Betelgeuse, is estimated to be 640 light years away, with 150 years on either side as a give or take. I think when you're talking about 640 light years, 150 years either way, it doesn't really make much difference, but that's it's an astronomical figure. Literally, it's an astronomical figure. That's the whole point of it. But it's hard to get your mind around that. 640 light years away, when light travels at the speed of light. Sometimes I just can't get my head around it. And I mean, this is before the stroke, before it suddenly went pop. But yeah, it's just hard to get your mind around how far away that really is. We are so insignificant. Tiny. It makes no sense that we're the only living entities out there as well on this planet. There must be others out there, just by sheer weight and numbers. By the balance of probability, there's got to be life somewhere else. There's got to be sentient life somewhere else as well. Yeah, Barnsley, do you know what? Apparently it's very, very Moorish, this levelling up. everyone's starting to get really into it. We've got people going for the Champions League spaces. We've got people trying to avoid relegation. It's really hotting up. Man, it's going to take you ages to get to the next level. No. You cried this in last time. That's what you're trying to do now, aren't you? Trying to get Botrix on your side to feel sorry for you. Well, we'll see what he does. Actually, I'm going to refresh and see what happens now with Botrix. Who else is levelled up? Oh, Mandy, you're on top of the table. You are now. You are at the very top. You can see other people are levelling up as well. All doing well. Yep, Kirsty's going for it. Making a late challenge for the Champions League spaces. She's just outside there at the moment in a European League, Europa League space. So, pushing on there though. Definitely doing well. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Nick really is that needy. See, Botrix having a go at me and not looking after you lot. He's evil. Truly evil. Anyway, where are we? Oh, we've had 2 hours again. How have I managed to do that? Chatting absolute wham for 2 hours. So we'll have to get off this fairly soon. Let you all get back to your normal lives. We'll let you get back to your actual lives rather than listening to me chatting shite. But you know what, I really do enjoy these. My friend phoned me a couple of nights ago. I'd not spoken to her in a while, and she was just checking up on me, making sure I was alright. And it was lovely just hearing a friend's voice that I've not spoken to for ages. And I was thinking, normally they're the people I would go for a pint with after work. And they're the people that I really do miss just being able to go and talk shit with them. That's what we'd normally do. Finish at 7 o'clock and say, do you fancy a quick pint? And then have a couple of hours in the pub in the middle of town, or before everyone goes on their own little merry way, or if it's a weekend, you stay out and get walloped. But I miss that. Just that ability to unwind by chatting shite, and yes, I can do that quite well. I find doing it here with yourselves, it's the nearest thing. Even though we're not sat in the same pub together, it's a similar vibe. I quite like it. Everyone says what they feel like. No one's having a go at each other. It's a really nice, a nice vibe, and it's lovely to have piggybacked on Daniel's audience. Really, to have been part of that community, and then for everyone to be so, friendly towards me and be so supportive. I can't think of anyone else I'd rather spend a couple of hours with. So thank you very much for joining me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Hadavi. I've enjoyed the stream as well. I really have. Mandy arranged to meet up. It has been mentioned. Obviously, I can't go for a pint anymore, so I might have to go for a couple of lemonades with them. But not everyone's in the office anymore, and people have sort of got on with their lives and can't quite make it out and go and just like we used to do, go out and at the drop of a hat. You're on your way home, yeah. No, you're not. Come in the pub quick. That kind of stuff we can't really do. Yours is a Tia Maria and Coke. Yep, no problem. Tia Maria and Coke on its way. But yeah, I think we will meet up with them. We have said that, some of you mates. But in the meantime, it's lovely spending time with your good selves. And on behalf of the stream, I'd like to apologise for Botrix being an absolute knobhead by not getting people to level up quickly, and by not telling me exactly what I need to do to be able to put you into some kind of proper league where I can see how many points you're getting. Just randomly gives you a different level. Something's got to be done about this. We need to go to the European Court of Botrix rights, sort this shit out. Not having it anymore. Botrix, are you there? Are you listening? Are you there? Sort it out, lad. It's got to be a lad, and it Botrix. It's got to be a lad. No one else can act like that. No woman would be able to act like that. No female AI would act like he does. thinking he runs the place. The bot is drunk. Kirsty, I am not. Do you know what? I'm with you on that. I'm sure Botrix has been on it. One of those behind the bike sheds. Yeah, so thank you very much for being here. Casper, keep watching the skies, mate. Keep watching the skies. Louise, thank you very much. Fun and educational. What more could I ask for? If that's what you think this is. That's going on the tour posters. It was fun and educational. Louise, Lancashire. Yeah. Everyone's getting ignored by Botrix, so it's not just me. So yeah, cheers for that, Barnesy. Cheers, mate. Thanks for that. It's nice that people do want to be here as well. I do appreciate that. But just the support that everyone gives me, whether it's on here, whether it's me videos, whether it's just saying hello in the chat, whatever, I love it. It can make bad days into good days, and it can make good days into absolutely fantastic ones. So thank you very much. Hopefully, I will catch you on the next stream. Like on the way out if you can, because I'm really needy. The bot has got favourites. The bot is going to get slapped purple when I finish off here. I'm not putting up with it. Definitely not putting up with it. But thank you very much. Have a good night, good rest of your night, and hopefully I will see you very soon. TTFN.